Hello and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name's Harriet. I hope you're having a good day. Today I thought I'd talk through some books that I picked up recently, maybe in the last 2 months. It's been a while since I've done a haul. And most of these are secondhand, the other ones are from Waterstones, so let's get into it. So the first one I picked up from the charity shop when I went to a vintage sale. We ended up trying to find some dye for these jeans that I picked up because they were like a washed out grey colour. I wanted them to be black. We couldn't find the dye, eventually had to buy some, and then I got them home and they didn't fit me, which was really annoying. But while we were there was a charity shop that I went in and all their books were 2 for 99p. So I picked up this one and my friend got another one. But it is the first book in the Life Ship Traders trilogy by Robin Hobb. It's called Ship of Magic. I have still not read any Robin Hobb books. It is on my TBR to read the Farseer trilogy. I do have them and I do really want to read them. I feel like I'm really going to like this author's writing. People have compared Hobb's work to Le Guin's fantasy series. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but either way, this was such a beautiful front cover, really like vintage looking. And I'm very excited to get to this. I will obviously start the Farseer trilogy first. Is there a particular order I'm supposed to be reading these, by the way? Because the Farseer trilogy is just the one that I picked up first. I don't know if I should start this one first. Let me know what you think down below, how you think I should start it. But regardless, I'm really excited to try this author's writing. I just need to actually read it. Another charity shop bargain, this was 50p, and to be honest, it doesn't look like it's even been read, but that is The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Leftery. I don't know a lot about this. I've seen the front cover quite a lot because obviously it's stunning, so I'll read the synopsis. Nuri is a beekeeper, his wife Afra an artist. They live happily in the beautiful Syrian city of Aleppo until the unthinkable happens and they are forced to flee. But what Afra has seen is so terrible she has gone blind, and they must embark on a perilous journey through Turkey and Greece towards an uncertain future in Britain. So I think this is about asylum seekers, possibly. I've heard really good things. Most people that I've seen that have read this have said it's a very powerful, very moving novel. So I figured I would give it a go, considering it was so cheap. And another book from the same charity shop. This was a whole £1. So expensive, right? But it's by Margaret Atwood. I saw this and figured I'd pick it up. It's called The Blind Assassin. Again, a really nice front cover. I like this a lot. That's kind of why I picked it up. And we'll go for the synopsis again because I can't remember. More than 50 years on, Iris Chase is remembering Laura's mysterious death. And so begins an extraordinary and compelling story of 2 sisters and their secrets. Set against a panoramic backdrop of 20th century history, The Blind Assassin is an epic tale of memory, intrigue and betrayal. So maybe this is going to be like a mystery, psychological kind of book. I don't know if it's a thriller or not, but I feel like it's going to have really cool vibes, especially set in that kind of time. So yeah, I'm excited to give this a go. It's really long. It's 637 pages, which is a lot of reading, but hopefully the story will be interesting enough that I want to read it all. The last 4 books that I've got here, I got from Waterstones. We don't really celebrate Valentine's Day, but when it was Valentine's Day, which I'm calling myself out for how much I pre-film here because it's been a while since that day. But my partner took me to Waterstones and kind of gave me free reign. We went and had some lunch, which was really lovely. But I did buy some books, so I will show you. The first 2 are non-fictions. This one caught my eye because of how beautiful it was, and then I read the synopsis and thought it sounded really interesting. So it's called 12 Birds to Save Your Life, Nature's Lessons in Happiness by Charlie Colbert. This has got a little thing on the front by the author of The Salt Path, Rain or Win, which I really loved that book. It was just really wonderful to read, very interesting. And I'm really into non-fiction at the moment, especially to do with nature. So I figured I'd pick this up, and it's essentially following the author, because it is a true story, and how they dealt with the death of their mother, and how the countryside and nature kind of gave them a place where they could feel happy and at peace. So I think this will be a really lovely read. It's probably going to be quite emotional, but it sounds like something I'm going to enjoy. And the other non-fiction I've been looking at buying for months, maybe even half a year. Whenever it came out, I saw it and thought it sounded really interesting, and then I went to one of our local kind of historical sites where you can go and walk around. They had it for sale there and I didn't pick it up then either. So when we saw it in Waterstones, my partner was like, do you know what, you've been talking about it for a little while, just pick it up. And it is The Fens by Frances Pryor. I have lived in the Fens my whole life. I've been in the Peterborough area my whole life, which sounds sad, but I actually adore it. We live in the countryside, so we see all kinds of different animals, different landscapes, and fenlands are always really beautiful. They feel very kind of magical, mystical. But obviously this is following the author, again it is non-fiction, and just talking about the history of these ancient lands within England, and also talking about the author's experience living within those places. And I just think it's going to be really beautiful. I think it's going to make me appreciate where I live even more, even though I appreciate it anyway. But yeah, it's going to be something that I can really relate to. And again, it's quite a thick book. It is 401 pages long, but because I can relate to it, hopefully I'm going to enjoy it. Now, the next book, I talk about the books that are in this series quite a lot, even though I've only read the first and second one. But I didn't realise there's going to be a fourth book out. I thought it was going to be a trilogy, but I do remember seeing somewhere that it might not be. And then the fourth book was in the shop, so I thought, yeah, I'm going to have to pick it up. It was buy one get one half price as well. So that is A Storm of Sisters by Michelle Harrison. This is part of the A Pinch of Magic series. I went to call it a trilogy then. It has got like pastel baby blue sprayed edges, and I think this is kind of like an icy, wintry adventure. All of these adventures are following these three sisters and kind of the mischief they get up to and how they are linked to magic. So I'm very excited to finish this series at some point. I would like to get to all of them before kind of the middle of 2022. And I just really love the way that these books look. They all look so wonderful. Has got some really good morals and things. I think it would be really good for children to read, but obviously I'm enjoying reading them as well. And they're all about the same length as well, which is really nice. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to read this one very soon. And the last one, so this is what happens when Waterstones has signed exclusive books that I know nothing about, but that look so beautiful that I decide to spend £15 on them. But I don't regret a thing. It is The Leviathan by Rosie Andrews. I've never read anything by this author. I've not heard too much about this book. I have seen it here and there, but I was drawn in because firstly the front cover is beautiful anyway, and then it's got sprayed edges and they're just so good. They're so good. It is signed as well, so it's signed on the front cover. And when I was looking at it, Callum was like, oh, that's a lot of money for a book that you don't know a lot about. And then the sales assistant came over and was like, we've only got like 3 or 4 of these left. So they know what they were doing. I picked it out straight away. But this, it seems to be kind of like a mystical, possibly horror book. I'm not really sure. So it's set in Norfolk in 1643 during the Civil War, and a soldier is summoned home by his sister who accuses a new servant of improper conduct with their widowed father. By the time Thomas, who's the main character, returns, his father is insensible, felled by a stroke, and their new servant is in prison facing charges of witchcraft. Thomas prides himself on being a rational modern man, but as he unravels the mystery of what's happened, he uncovers not a tale of superstition, but something dark and ancient, linked to a shipwreck years before. Something has awoken and now it will not rest. So I'm hoping it has some kind of like mythical creature in there, possibly. Maybe to do with, I don't know, serpents or sea serpents. I'm just trying to guess from the front cover. But if you have read this, please let me know what you think. Don't obviously tell me the story. I'd like to discover it for myself. But yeah, it looked very fascinating and very beautiful, so I figured I would pick it up. And I don't usually treat myself to hardbacks. I figured because it was the Day of Love, I'd treat myself. So yeah, those are all the books that I picked up recently. I'm trying not to buy too many physical copies of books. I'm sure when it gets to my birthday in May, I'll probably go a little bit crazy, but I'm actually going to be popping to the charity shop and book swaps very soon to swap out some old books, because obviously I've just redone my bookshelf, which I'll leave that video linked down below so you can check that out if you're interested. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!